Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everybody, to The Author's Journey. Honored to be connecting in with you today. We have the privilege and honor of talking with amazing best-selling authors who have leaned into saying yes to bringing their message forward, have gone through all the processes and steps to publish the book, and then released it into the world in such a way that it was received as a best-selling book or above. So very excited to introduce our guest for you today. And one of the things I know you're going to love about our guest and her book is she has lived such a life of resilience. In fact, even as she was connecting in today, she had to be persistent in resilience in connecting. So I just really appreciate and love our guest's ability to keep rising up, to keep pursuing, to keep being resilient. And I think there's so much we can learn from that. And when you're looking at bringing a book forward and bringing it out into the world, it's a journey, it's a process, and you have to be resilient. So she's going to be talking to us today about her journey, about her book, and how we can really be resilient in our writing and in how we are living our life. So welcome, everybody. I know we're in for a treat today, lots that we're going to be able to discover and learn. And in order for you to get the most out of our time together today, I want to invite you to choose to be present, fully present, ready to receive. Having your notepad ready or your favorite, whether it's a notepad or notebook or journal, however you like to capture information, that you have that ready, leaning in with anticipation of what you're going to discover and learn. We're even going to let you know at the end of the show how to connect with our author if you want to go deeper. So be ready to receive all of that wonderful information and insight. And I know that it's here for you by the very nature of you tuning in. So I'm excited to see it unfold. Can't wait for you to fill your notebook full of great notes and insights and information. And sometimes it'll come from within you as you are listening to the shares of the author or myself. Something will spark. So be armed and ready with your writing utensil to capture everything there is to capture to serve and support you. So just to help us be present, let's take a deep breath in through the nose, all the way to our toes. And as we breathe that air, take another beautiful breath in and out. Really claim this time as yours, an opportunity for you to be present, to be poured into, and to receive. Beautiful. I always love those deep breaths. So with that, I'm excited to introduce our amazing guest and dear friend of mine, Kari Kelley. She's an international best-selling author of multiple books, so she's been through this journey many times. She's the creator, producer, and performer of multiple one-woman shows. Here's just the current list: Somebody Else's Child, 3 Chairs, and From Garbage to Gold. She's presented to and entertained audiences and VIPs at sold-out events all around Northern California. She's in demand, and she is the subject and star of the documentary Gifted Messenger. Her books include Black, Blind, and Female, Village Pearls, and multiple anthologies that she's been part of. And her most recent international best-selling book is Living Resiliently, Black, Blind, and Female, The Journey Continues. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce the dynamic and talented Kari Kelley. Welcome!
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here with you today.
I am thrilled to have you joining us. Thank you for leaning in. I know this is a busy time of year for you, especially this month and right after your book coming out. So I really appreciate you carving out time for us to talk and to share. And I wanted to start our conversation with why. Why is this work that you do in performing and speaking and sharing your messages, especially around children, and their journey and kind of the difference we can make in the world? Why is that work so important to you?
Well, honestly, at the end of the day, I am a child abuse prevention advocate.
Hmm.
And I'm coming from a very personal place of being an adult survivor.
Yep.
And the fact that there are statistics that say that abuse is still going on, I feel like this message is evergreen until there is no more child abuse.
Mm,
So it has to. I am determined to do my part to end it.
beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I love that. And speaking of that, I know that this month in particular, we're talking in April. I'm not quite sure when the show's being released, but we're recording it in April. Do you mind sharing a little bit about the significance of April and some of the work that you do?
Yes, April is National Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Hmm.
And so a lot of my work started because I was shooting to be able to be visible in April to share my message. And my message is for two different audiences. Well, maybe three.
Hmm.
The first audience is for the people that are actual adult survivors who may have never been able to share their own experiences. So they are still feeling the wounds of what happened to them. The
Hmm.
second audience are the people who may know of situations that need some attention, that need to be dealt with. And I'm saying, if you know something, do something. If you see something, say something. And
Hmm.
then the third audience is just for those people who are motivated and inspired by what I'm saying to be involved, to go
Hmm.
find those agencies that are in the trenches helping people that that need their help, that
Hmm.
need someone to stand in the gap so that if a child is in harm's way, they are willing to make sure that that child is not harmed. So those are those are the people that I am reaching out to when I am sharing my message, and it's more receptive in April because everyone is understanding that April is Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. I am sorry for the journey that you went on, and so grateful you've survived, and not only survived, but thrived, and are reaching back and out in so many different ways to change that story for others, to stand in that place, to bring awareness, to speak on behalf of those children, and to really bring that awareness forward, but also those ways that we can say something, we can do something, we can make a difference together. And I appreciate how you stand for that so beautifully and powerfully, and in so many different talented ways that you are able to reach people. So with that, your most recent book, Living Resiliently, do you mind sharing a little bit about why you felt led to write another book and why that became important to bring it forward?
Well, one of the things that happened in about 20, let's see, um, about 2020, 2013 or 14 is I found out that I survived shaken baby syndrome and a traumatic brain injury when I was only 14 months old. I am adopted, and I'm legally blind. I didn't know how I became legally blind until I got my birth story from the agencies that handled my adoptions. I had two different adoptions. The first one is where I was shaken and I had my head bashed so hard that fluid built up on my brain. I didn't get medical attention for 10 whole days. Oh. And the fact that I was only 14 months old when that happened, and when you look at statistics for those, either one of those injuries for children under 2 years old, I found out I was miraculous. My life is a miracle according to the statistics for those two injuries. I am now 53 years old, and when I found out that I survived those two injuries, and then I went on to deal with other levels of abuse, and I'm still here, and I'm still strong, and I'm still thriving, I knew that this was a calling. I knew that I had to write a book so that other people who are as resilient as I am, it may not be that they survived traumatic injuries, but maybe they did. Maybe it was a car accident when they were older, or maybe it was surviving an illness like cancer, or, there's different ways that people can be resilient. And once I realized that I also felt like other people are as well, and they need to find a way to celebrate that. And so the book, Living Resiliently, has discussion questions and places that you can take notes so that you can look at your own life and see where you have been resilient. And as your challenges come up before you, that's another way to look back and say, wow, I survived this. So the challenge that I'm facing right now may not be so hard after all. I can get through this.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. You're right. We can forget how resilient we are in the midst of a storm and a challenge, and having a way to look back and remind ourselves of what we have come through, what we have survived, can inspire us and encourage us to keep moving forward, that we will come through this too. So thank you for sharing some of your story with us, your journey. And I love that discovery of you discovering how miraculous and resilient you are, how beautiful that is. And what a gift to be able to share that with others and help us discover that about ourselves as well. Well, we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you to think about some of what Kari has shared. What's sparking within you about being resilient? Maybe some things that you have come through. I encourage you to take these 2 minutes and just write down some thoughts that are coming to you as you reflect on what she shared. And we will continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. And I hope as you took a moment to write down some of your thoughts, that you were able to see all that you have survived, or at least a couple things came to mind, and discover that you do have resilience, that you have survived, and that in and of itself is miraculous and a gift. That process that she described of really recognizing that ourselves and writing that down is so powerful. And it is also one of my favorite things about her book, that it has you pause and reflect on key points as you read some of her story and insight and journey. It gives you an opportunity to shine a light on your life and to explore things that can help you build your resilience and recognize how resilient you are, which is so powerful for the storms that we can weather in life. So I love, love, love that about your book. And it's so in alignment with you, Kari, and all that you're looking to bring to the world. And I know I shared some of your talents in the opening segment as I was sharing some of your bio. And one of the things I didn't mention is that you are also a singer, so a performer, entertainer, and a singer. And you have a song that you are sharing right now with the release of your book and as you're speaking and being interviewed in honor of this month. And I would love for you to share. I know you reminded me during break that you were willing to do that. So I'm taking you up on that and excited to have you share your song with us today. So if you don't mind just introducing it, and then we would love to experience it.
Absolutely. This song I came across, it's a very old song, but I came across it when I was asked to honor someone very important in my life, my godmother. And this song is called If I Can Help Somebody. And I really feel the words of this song to my core, if I can help somebody. So that is the song that I will share with you now. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that they're traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you.
Thank you. I just was sitting here listening and feeling your words as you shared them, and I found myself swaying to the movement of the song and just felt it deep in my core. And I hope, listeners, you've had a similar experience, that it spoke to you, it called to you. And Kari, thank you for sharing and gifting us with your song and singing today. I'm just so appreciative of that. And listeners, I just want to take a moment as we continue to receive all that song has brought up within us. I think it's important, as you're a reader or a messenger, or you're looking at bringing your message forward, or maybe writing your message, bring all of you forward, all your gifts, all your talents, weave them together to bring them out into the world. I think sometimes we just look to share in one way, one path, and just in this conversation today, Kari has illustrated and given us such a beautiful example of bringing so many of her talents together and her journey. So her story, her resilience, her aha moment, her desire to make a difference, She's shared out in multiple books. She's performed on stages. She has followed her heart to sing songs as called to reach and continue to make a difference to all of the different audiences she's called to reach and all the different people that she's looking to help get involved. How can you do that? How can you tap your message, your work into all of who you are, all your facets, and tie that into a mission that speaks to your core that you can reach more people with? Those are brilliant things to weave into your life, to bring into your writing, to bring into your messages as you go out in the world. Because how we choose to navigate, how we choose to show up in more and more alignment with those things, the bigger difference we can make, the bigger ripple as we share heart by heart, life by life. Don't limit yourself to just one way of sharing. Really look to explore all the different ways you can bring all your talents. And that's just something I really love and appreciate about you. And Kari, I wanted to circle back on the book a little bit here and your journey. Because one of the things we love to explore is the author's journey on our show. And with this particular book, you had to be really resilient. I know you started back in either 2017, 2018, and brought it forward and released it here just recently. So it was a journey. And I think about journeys like that. There's a lot that's never seen that people go through and have to be persistent. There are times where we may not feel like it's worth it or we don't want to keep going, and yet you did. And I'd love for you to share a little bit of how you had to be resilient, what that took, and any advice or tips you could give to any of our listeners out there that might be on a journey themselves.
Well, let me tell you, it really was a journey. Once I picked the title, once I knew I was going to write about being resilient, living a resilient life, I hit multiple walls because during the times when I needed to be writing the book, I felt like I wasn't being resilient. I was giving in to those times where I wanted to climb under the covers or just even so low and depressed that I wanted to be under the bed. There were just so many times when I would look at that title and go, how can I write about being resilient when I'm not living resiliently? I'm curled in the fetal position and I can't get past, what is happening right now. There are times when I look at my story and the things that I went through and I give in to the hurt, the pain, and I would let it swallow me. Mm-hmm. And then something would happen. There would always be some outside force that would call to me to say, okay, you're needed. Your message is needed. You are resilient. If you're on this side of the veil, if you haven't stopped breathing and stopped living, then you are resilient. And sometimes just taking the next breath is living resiliently. And once I heard that, and once I got that message, I was able to write one more thing. I was able to write one more chapter or one more paragraph. And the pandemic was a part of it, just being stuck and afraid to, connect with other people. There was just so many things that I allowed to stop me and slow the process down. But recently, I had a meditation, and the vision that showed up was me wearing a T-shirt, and on the back of the T-shirt it said "Keep going," and there's all these people behind me, and every time I stop, somebody would come up, tap me on the shoulder, and say, "Keep going," and I would keep going. And so that meditation and that vision in my head is what keeps me going right now today. So, yeah, that was the process, and now I just have to keep going and encourage other people to keep going.
I love that. And find that reminder, that thing that can help spark when you feel like stopping, that
Yes.
you keep on going. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I hope listeners, you're hearing that message and Kari cheering you on as part of the crowd behind you to keep going.
Yes.
And sometimes they'll
Yes.
see the message. I like that was on the back of your shirt. Like they'll see the message to remind you. You don't always see the keep going message. So they remind you. I love that. So beautiful. Beautiful. Well, also as we reflect back on your journey and that continuing to bring it forward, even with everything that happened, is there a final tip, share, maybe one of your favorite moments? You're like, oh, this was so worth the journey, that you could share with our listeners as well? And any final tips?
Okay, two things. The first thing is I would encourage you to recognize your own resilience. You are resilient. Believe that. The second piece would be to celebrate it with someone else. There is something about sharing good news with people and having them recognize your resilience with you, and then turning that to see how they have been resilient so you can celebrate with them. Those two things will go a long way to keep you motivated and uplifted and inspired. That is what is helping me. When I get comments and information about how my story is inspiring them, inspiring other people, that is worth it. That's when I know that I've done the right thing, that I've shared the right thing. So that would be the thing to do.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love that. And I can just see that spreading out as we come together and share, and then we reach out to another person and share, how powerful that can be as we encourage each other and build our resilience and celebrate it together. Oh, thank you for sharing. And I'd love for you to give the full title of your book and let people know where they can find it. So, for any of the listeners who don't have your book yet, what's the best way, the full title, and the best way for them to get a copy?
The full title is Living Resiliently, Black, Blind, and Female, The Journey Continues. That's a long title, but if you type it in, it will show up. The book can be bought on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Amazon and type in Living Resiliently, Black, Blind, and Female, The Journey Continues, that is where you will find the book.
Wonderful. And then for those who are listening and they want more of Kari, what is the best way for them to connect in and follow you?
My website is where you can find everything. All of my books are there. There are links to some of my speeches, my singing, my one-woman show, the documentary. The website is voicesofresilience.com. That's voicesofresilience.com.
Wonderful. And I love the name of your website. I was just taking a moment, smiling and appreciating that. Voices of Resilience. And I love how that brings us all together. Well, Kari, thank you so much for spending time with us today, sharing. We just support the work that you're doing and cheer you on as you continue to bring such powerful awareness around child abuse, and that you continue to share until there is no more abuse of that nature out in the world. So I just love your commitment to that, heart by heart, life by life, child by child, and healing by healing, as the survivors also join forces and continue on their journey. So thank you for your work and all that you do in the world. Listeners, thank you for leaning in. I hope you had some great insights and ahas, and that you remember to just keep going, that you are far more resilient than you know, and those things on your heart that you are called to bring forward are needed. So find a way to celebrate them, find a way to bring them forward. And as you go back out into the world, I invite you to take a couple of minutes to reflect on what Kari has shared. I encourage you to lean in and get a copy of her book and connect with her further, and that you lean in fully to your journey as well. Because how you show up, how you move forward, the choices you make do make a difference, heart by heart, life by life. I hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.